Okay, so it is 3:30. Oops. It's 3:30, so I'm going to go ahead and start the webinar. So welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us. This is our second leaf blower webinar, and we're going to have a little series, and there should be a few more coming up. So if you're watching asynchronously, there'll be more to come. My name is Kelli Maples, and I work at the city manager's office. And before we get started with our guest speakers, I want to give a little introduction into why we're doing this webinar and the City of Coronado's gas-powered leaf blower ban. So effective January 1st, 2021, all gas-powered leaf blowers will be banned throughout the City of Coronado. Leaf blowers will only be used or be able to be used during the hours of 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. And this is going to pertain to all residents, contractors, and businesses that are in the City of Coronado. So we are having this webinar today to ensure that everyone who's going to be affected by the ban has ample time and resources to transition to electric leaf blowers. We know this is a big change, so we want to be able to give everyone some ideas on what electric leaf blowers are on the market and what options are available to them. So real quick, I've received a lot of questions about whether or not the City of Coronado is having a rebate program. And unfortunately, the city does not have a rebate program, but we are working with retailers around San Diego County to get discount or coupon codes for certain brands of electric leaf blowers. So far, Imperial Sprinkler Supply, which is located in the National City, has expressed interest in providing a discount on their electric leaf blower products. So as this finalizes, I'll make sure to inform residents and contractors about potential discount codes that they can use on electric leaf blower products. So today I have Brandon, Paul, and Kyle from Stihl to conduct a presentation on some of the electric power tools that they have. They're going to be doing a quick little PowerPoint, a demonstration, and we'll have a Q&A at the end. I wanted to provide a slide with all of the contact information. If you have questions about the leaf blower ordinance itself, please follow this website, coronado.ca.us/leafblowers. It's a very comprehensive website. It has a frequently asked questions section, an informational video, and a bunch of other resources that will be helpful for you. You can also contact me directly. That's my email and my phone number. And if you have any questions regarding the actual products shown in the video, I've listed Brandon, Paul, and Kyle's contact information, and they would be happy to assist you with any questions you may have. And without further ado, I'm going to hand the presentation off to Brandon, and they will take it from here.
Can I do a screen sharing so I can do my presentation?
You should be able to share your screen. Oh, let me change that. I believe you should be able to share it now.
All right, can you see me now on the presentation there? Okay, great. All right, so my name is Brendan Glover. I'm a territory manager with Stihl. We're a German-based company, and they've been in business since 1926, where actually Andreas Stihl invented the very first electric chainsaw. So it's interesting that we sell primarily gas power products today, but we were actually the very first kind of green outdoor power equipment company in existence. And the interesting thing about this chainsaw is it took 2 people to operate, and it was over 120 pounds, and it took a generator. So, but ever since then, Stihl's been innovating, and they've came out with a lot of the features that we currently have on all outdoor power equipment. Stihl is actually still owned by the Stihl family. Andreas Stihl was the founder of Stihl, and it's still ran by his family today. The one right in the middle there, that is Dr. Nico Stihl. He's the 3rd generation. And in 2016, we actually celebrated our 90th anniversary. Stihl is on all over the world. We have over 40,000 retailers, And we have about 7 different manufacturing plants. The biggest one is in Virginia Beach, Virginia, where most of actually all Stihl products are produced. So it is actually all over the world, where most other manufacturers, most of those are not even made in the United States of America. So that's something that we're very proud about. It actually, in Virginia Beach, Virginia is where our manufacturing plant is. They own over 150 acres and it's under 1 million square feet. So it's a pretty impressive operation. We actually have vertical integration where we actually do our own injection molding. We actually make a lot of our own parts. And so, which gives us a leverage to produce quite a bit of units and for distribution for America and throughout the world. Stihl has been here since 1974. They're very committed to America and growing that business. And they've done that through manufacturing here and putting a lot of resources into it. The biggest thing is how we go to market is a little bit different than maybe some other companies. The reason why we have a little bit different is our philosophy from our founder, Andreas Stihl. He said a good chainsaw is only as good as its service. And so, which you could apply that to today's terms that we believe is if you buy something and if it breaks and it's really no good for you. So if you have no service for it, then really, then there's no point. And so we've taken kind of what he started with it and we've kind of expanded out from there. And so what we do is we have servicing dealers. So if there's a problem with the product, you can actually take it to one of them. We have over 10,000 in the United States. And we don't actually sell to any big box retailers like Lowe's or Home Depot. But if you actually combine our servicing dealers, we actually have more locations than them. And one other aspect is that we do not sell online. So still it can only be bought and purchased through a local service, a dealer of ours. And so why are dealers important is when you're going to go there, they can give you hands-on demonstrations. If there's a problem, they can actually maintain the product and repair it for you, provide warranty services, and then you can buy parts and other related accessories from them. And this involvement with the customer and the dealer that helps really the best experience. Where most of the problems that you've seen with outdoor power equipment is when someone goes to a big box store and they buy it, it's in a box, they bring it home, they put it together. Sometimes people get injured because they put it together wrong. Sometimes they ruin the tool because they don't know how to properly maybe mix fuel if it's a gas powered product, or they do something wrong with it, they damage. And actually having someone there to actually put the product together for you, explain the safety and benefits, actually kind of gives it an advantage where a lot of companies over the years have kind of lost market share, where actually Stihl has grown that. And because of our dealer base, we've been able to really kind of grow that. And how we find our dealers is we have a dealer locator. If you go to stihldealers.com or stihlusa.com, we have a locator that all you have to do is put your city or your zip code in there, and it will pull up a list of current dealers. If we do that for the San Diego region, you'll actually be able to see on those orange dots, this is where all our local dealers are at. As you can see, they're spread. We don't have anybody in Coronado, but they're spread out through San Diego, through East County, and up north there. And these are the list of our current local Stihl dealers that we have. And we have kind of 2 types of dealers. We have what's called BER, which is a battery electric retailer. And these people only sell homeowner to light commercial products for battery. So we have some that are close to Coronado there. So if you go to these locations, you'll only be able to buy battery products. And we have our full line dealers, which sells battery and gas equipment, and they do the full service on their products. So as you can see, we have quite a bit of dealers even within San Diego area. And we'll actually have one of them later talk to us, Mason Saw. They're one of our premier dealers that we have that provide great service. And also they've been selling our battery equipment since we came out with it back in 2010. And really with our dealers and the brand, we are the #1 selling brand of outdoor power equipment of gasoline powered equipment in America. And this has been since 2009 and it's all the way to current. And that's just a testament of the quality of the brand that we have. But Stihl is setting their sights on growing that into being #1 in battery products. So currently, what Stihl has is we actually also have corded products too. We have 13 electric tools that we have. We make pressure washers, vacuums, blowers, and chainsaws and a line trimmer, and great products there. But we're going to kind of talk about battery today and why our battery products are different than the competition out there. Currently, we have 38 battery tools, which is probably one of the biggest lineups out there in the outdoor power equipment market. A lot of these are commercial grade, but we also make homeowners. And so we make it at great price points, anywhere from $129 on up. So there's kind of something for everybody. We are coming out with 7 brand new professional battery products later at the end of the year and first of next year. So we'll have more of those, and still we'll keep expanding this line. So as the years go on, this will just get bigger and bigger and bigger. Kind of what Stihl versus the competition, or maybe some other brands out there, when it comes to battery products, there's kind of a difference. We use a 36-volt batteries. There are some companies that have 72 volt, 80 volt on up from there. And kind of to tell you the difference between the two is if you took a milkshake and you wanted to put that in your tummy, right? You got a straw that you're going to use it with. And really and how batteries works is you have voltage times the amps equals how many watt hours you're going to get. So let's picture it as the milkshake as your voltage there. This is how much energy or how much power you're going to have. Well, if we want to get that into your tummy, or basically get that into the machine to use, what you're going to need to do is you need to have a straw, which is the amperage. And that's a flow of energy that's going. So essentially you have here is the milkshake represents the battery, the voltage, the amperage is the straw, and then the power is what the tool is going to be getting. So what's interesting about ours is as you're using it and it drops, actually the voltage drops as you use it, the amps actually will increase. And by doing that, you're getting a constant rate of power, where some of other companies, what they do is when they're actually, as their voltage drops, their amperage does not go up. And so what happens is the power available actually goes down. And as you can kind of see the circles there, that kind of represents how much power, because the flow of energy is going down and there's not as much available. So the nice thing about Stihl on all our battery tools is from when you hit it with the trigger and you're going with power, from if it's a chainsaw, if it's a blower, hedge trimmer, it doesn't matter. You're getting the same amount of power from the very 100% charge all the way down to 1% charge. Or a lot of the other competition out there is when you hit 100% charge, you're getting full power, but by the time you're done, you've lost quite a bit of power because their amperage does not keep up with the voltage. So that's kind of a benefit with Stihl. The other thing is we have a special battery management system where the battery will actually talk to the unit. And so if there's a problem, it can tell you. If the battery is too hot, it'll actually indicate that. If it gets too cold, if there's something wrong with it. So some diagnostic abilities that Stihl has, where some of the competition doesn't have that. We actually have 3 series when it comes to our battery line. We have an AI series, AK and AP, and we have different product categories in each one of those. So we make chainsaws, trimmers, blowers in each one of those items. And we're going to kind of go through each one of those, but we're going to kind of focus on the blowers, which we're going to talk about today. We actually have 5 different blowers. So we have the 3 different series, and each one of those we have different blowers. Some of them have integrated batteries, some of them have removable batteries or backpack, and we'll kind of get into each one of those. So on a lot of our blowers, they come with adjustable blower tube. So depending if you're shorter to taller person, you can kind of adjust depending on your length. We also have flat nozzles that you can use. The nice thing about that is if you have to and have an area that you want a lot of concentration of blowing, you can use a flat nozzle on most of our blowers. And the great thing is as you change, depending on the length of it, the blowing force remains constant at each stage. So our integrated battery, this is where the battery is integrated here. They're called our AI series. And we have one model of blower in that called our BGA 45. It's really lightweight. It's only 4.4 pounds, and it has 235 CFM, which is pretty good. And this actually blower would be for someone who has like a condo, a trailer, or just a really small area. If you have quite a bit of blowing to do, this is not recommended for that. But there's some people that, hey, weight is an issue. They don't have a lot to do. And the price point is great at $129.95. Well, you have our AK series. This one kind of is our value pack series, where gives you really kind of a great benefit of power. and longevity, and then also at a really good price. This is more for homeowner or light commercial. These ones you can buy as a whole set together because the battery and the charger are separate, but you can buy them as a whole set. The only and if you already have a battery and charger, you can buy just a unit only for that. So how you do is you can pick out your batteries. If you want to buy additional batteries, we make 3 different ones, anywhere from 1.4 amp hours all the way up to 4.8. The price is anywhere from $69 all the way up to $139. The AL101 here, the one with the black charger, this is the one that comes standard with most of the units. So this is fine for home use. It takes a little bit longer to charge, depending on what you want to do. It takes anywhere from an hour up to 2 hours to charge. So if someone was going to be using these units commercially, we would suggest that they buy a bigger charger, our AL300 or a 500. And those you're getting anywhere from 20 to 30 minutes charge time, all the way up to half an hour to 60 minutes. And so if people are using this commercially, this is pretty much their fuel, the battery and the charger. So you're going to want to be able to have additional batteries. If it's just for home use, one battery is probably fine because they can use it. And if it discharges the battery, they can just recharge it back up and then finish on what they're doing. But if it's a gardener or a landscaper and they're out there, they can't really stop and wait for it to charge. They're going to have multiple batteries. Our BGA 57 is our AK blower. This one has 365 CFM, which is really nice. And the nice thing about it too is it's only 64 decibels, so it's actually kind of quiet, and it has pretty good runtime. It's up to 27 minutes. But this is a little deceiving on most manufacturers, because out there what they'll do is they'll talk about runtime, and this can be a lot of things. We actually publish a runtime at full power. If you actually use less power, you're going to get we have adjustable throttle, and if you just engage it a little, the throttle will actually, you'll get a longer runtime out of there. And so most of the way we publish it is just going to be at full runtime. But the difference between actually how long you use a product and what the runtime are 2 different things. So even if it's 27 minutes, typically people don't use a blower for 27 minutes period all the time. What they do is they'll blow one area, they'll stop, and they'll blow another area. Sometimes they'll do full power, sometimes they won't. So most of the time on this machine that I see, most people get anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour. For a regular house, this is perfect. Some people even use this as a commercial. My gardener actually has one of these machines, and so he has just multiple batteries, but it works out really, really well. And the price is only $199.95. And what's nice about this one, if you go to Consumer Reports, they just had, they've rated their blowers for the 2020, and you can read it there, and we had a very favorable rating with them. So, and their charge time is not too bad on these, but if you want, you can actually use a better charger if you're going to be using it commercially. Our AP series, this is actually our professional series. All these ones come a la carte, so you have to buy the unit by themselves, and then you buy the battery and the charger separately. The only one that you can buy as a complete kit is our lawnmower. But as you can see, we have blowers, line trimmers, chainsaws, hedge trimmers. As far as the batteries go, we actually have 4 different batteries that you can put in the machines. And these are anywhere from 2.4 amp hours all the way up to 7.2. And your price is anywhere from $109 to $229. So this is the gas. So usually if someone's going to be doing this commercially, we recommend doing more than 1 battery. We make 2 different chargers, like we talked about before, AL300 and 500. So these take anywhere from a half an hour all the way up to an hour, depending on what battery that you're choosing from. We make backpack batteries. On these ones, we actually have 5 different backpack batteries. We have them from 16.6 amp hours all the way up to 41.2 amp hours. And the price is anywhere from $700 all the way up to almost $1,500. With these backpack batteries, the only charger that we recommend is the AL500 because it charges the fastest. You can use the other batteries, it'll just take quite a bit longer. But for commercial use, you're going to want to get something that charges the fastest out there. And the nice thing about these ones is it takes a lot of the weight off of the tool when you take the battery off of the tool, because what it does is it has these adapters that looks like a battery. It's just really lightweight. You plug it into the machine and then you're ready to go from there. We have two type of power sources. We have onboard batteries and then we have plug-in ones. So our plug-in ones, we actually make 4 different commercial units for those. So since you can't put a battery on there, you have to have an external source. So essentially what you can do is you can take a regular AP battery, you can take a battery bag with a connecting cord and you put that in there and you can put it on your hip and you can plug it right into the tool. They do make a couple carrying options. So say if you didn't want to put it on your belt, you could actually put it on this harness with a belt, or you can put it kind of in a backpack. We do make those backpack batteries. They already come equipped with everything that you need. And we make our L series, which is actually, you can take the battery off of those. So depending on kind of what you want to do on the plug-in models, we have a couple different options. So kind of getting to our AP series, our BGA 86, this one is got 450 CFM. So it gives you quite a bit of power. This just replaced our BGA 85, which we had since 2012. And what's nice about this one, it actually has about 50% more power, and you're getting run times up to 21 to 26 minutes, but that's of actually use time. You can get anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour, depending on just regular use out of it, depending if you're not using it full blast the whole time. And it's really lightweight. It's at 6.2 pounds. That's with an AP300 battery, and it's $239 for just the unit only. Our BJ100, this one you have to plug in. This one gives you quite a bit of power. This is 494, and it's only 5.5 pounds. It's really lightweight. And you're getting from runtime on this with our backpack battery, anywhere from 1 hour up to like 4 hours of runtime on there. And that's $369.95. And then our biggest battery blower that we currently have, this one also is a plug-in socket. This is 553 CFM. The nice thing about this one is only 59 decibels. And so it's very, very quiet, and you're getting anywhere from almost a couple hours to 4 or 5 hours of runtime, depending on how you use that. So we have 3 different boost modes on our BJ 100 and our 200. And they have this on our BJ 200, we have a cruise control. So depending on what you want to do, and all our blowers have a variable speed. So as you hit the trigger, and as you lift up on the throttle and engage that, you'll actually get more power. If you want to let off on it, the power will decrease on there. Some of these people, if you're using it all day, you don't want to hold it in your hand all day. So what we do is we offer a couple different options. These harness can actually, there's a clip here that you can hook onto it, and you can actually connect these to the backpack batteries. And we also have this nice little hip mount one where actually you take off the clip here, you mount this on to the blower, and this clips onto the backpack battery, and then it just sits on your side. So it makes it a lot easier. So if you're using, like doing a parking lot, if you're using it for quite a bit of time, this is kind of a nice carrying system that we have for it. So how they kind of all combine together there is, as you can see, as you kind of go up to the BJ 200, you're actually increasing in power quite a bit that you have at the cubic feet per minute. What you'll see here is we have blowing force. This is called newtons here, and it goes from 10 to 17 to 21. Why Stihl uses newtons is they're more of an exact measurement. A lot of companies, what they'll do is they get miles per hour and cubic feet per minute. They'll measure the tubes, but sometimes they'll take off the tubes and they'll measure it right out where it's coming out of the intake there. So it's not an exact science with the CFM and miles per hour. So that can really vary wildly. But that's why we recommend newtons. That's an exact measurement source, and more companies are adopting that now. So if you want to see a true source of like how much power it has, the best would be to go off newtons. The nice thing about these two is, as you can see, the weights are very similar in weight power. So you're probably getting the best bang for your buck as you move up to a bigger external battery source. Price-wise, you're at anywhere from $239 to $399, but by the time you put the battery and the charger together, as you can see, you're going anywhere from $509 all the way up to $2,000. And sometimes people say, oh, that's kind of expensive, $2,000 where I can just buy another machine at a lesser cost, and we'll kind of get into that. So what we're doing is what I did on this the sheet here is I put our 2 popular gasoline blowers in relation to the power and the performance of the battery blowers. So our BR350 is our intro backpack commercial blower, backpack blower. And as you can see, it's 436 CFM. So that's actually our BJ 100 and BJ 200 actually have more cubic feet per minute. BG 86 is not quite there for the intro one there, but as you can see, our battery power is kind of equivalent to what a gas is. But the cost wise, you're at $349. And then our biggest blower, our BR800X, as you can see, the battery technology is not quite there yet, but it's getting there. But as decibel wise, you can see with the gasoline blowers, they're 74 decibels and 78. So that's quite a bit of difference at 59, 56, and 58. So for being quiet, people love that. As far as power, still there's some bigger ones that are out there, but price wise, as you can see, that's $599. So all you have to do is throw some gas in there. So the difference between the battery one, you have to buy your battery, your charger, and everything together. So why would I want to spend $2,000 versus I can just go out and spend $350? Well, what a lot of people don't realize is your price up front that you're paying for everything is you're essentially buying the gas all up front. And so it only costs about 20 cents an hour to run a battery product, where to run a gasoline product, depending on how much the gas and the oil is, it's anywhere from $1.25 to $1.50 an hour. So a return on investment, it will pay for itself within usually a year, depending on how much they use it, 2 years, just in fuel savings alone. So you have to spend a little bit more money up front on the fuel, on the battery and the chargers, but over time, because it doesn't cost as much money to charge batteries as where fuel and gas are. The other benefit is there's no really maintenance on a lot of the machines on the blowers. There's nothing you have to do to maintain it. Or regular gas blowers, you have to make sure you change the air filters. You usually have to do carburetor rebuilds, and you have to do other maintenance parts in there. So that's our cost associated with that. So there's actually quite a bit of savings in the long run by going to battery, and also for the zero emissions too. So there are some benefits there, but there's also a challenge to a lot of landscapers and gardeners out there, because a lot of people don't have that kind of money to get into the package. Now, in other areas that we've done is up in South Coast Air Quality, the South Coast Air Quality Management District. That's in Los Angeles County, Orange County, Riverside, and part of San Bernardino County. They've actually done an exchange program where they've traded in gasoline machines, and they've discounted battery products like Stihl at a discounted rate. And some other air quality management districts programs have done that. Some different cities have done that. And by doing that, it kind of really helps get some of the costs down and get people into buying battery. And once you get the battery and the chargers in there, then it's really not that bad after, but just the initial cost getting into it is a little bit of challenges, especially for some of the gardeners out there. The cool thing is on our AK and AP, we actually make battery carrying cases that they can actually carry the battery and chargers around in. These are batteries, you don't really want to throw them around the back of your truck. And so we actually make accessories. They also make different inserts if you just want to carry batteries without the charger. And also on all these machines, we recommend using our PPE. So if you're using a chainsaw, you wear chaps. If you're using any kind of machine, we recommend hearing protection, even though the decibel ratings are low. We still recommend using hearing protection. You have eye protection, gloves. So just being smart when you're using outdoor power equipment, because some of it can be very dangerous, and also being considerate of what you're doing. The cool thing about a lot of our machines and some of our better batteries, we have a thing called Still Connected. A lot of times people want to see how long they've used a machine for. We actually have modules that you can put on our units, or some of them are built into it, where it actually will pull how many hours that you're using it, where you're using it at, and that all can be used on a Still Connected app, which is free if you purchase a smart connector. And then for big companies, they actually have fleet managers. They can actually go onto a website and manage all the company's machines. So the cool thing about this is they can see how long it takes to use a product at a particular job, and then they can see how much more maybe products they need at that job, or if they're being efficient at what they're doing. So that's Still Connected. That came out last year, and we're going to keep incorporating into a lot of our products. The California Air Resource Board, they have a Z certification program, and we've kind of adopted that at Stihl. CARB, very important. Their mission is basically they're providing cleaner air for all of California. And to achieve that, the California has come out with the California Clean Air Act. And so we need to reduce emissions in the state as soon as possible. And so these Z guidelines, they set forth regulations by CARB. And so not every company can have a Z certification. There is a performance test that in a laboratory that you need to run so you can be certified. And some of the requirements are you have to operate the machine at least 8 hours. There's a durability test. It has to be at least 300 hours. And there's some other things associated with that. And Stihl actually has 3 current models that are Z certified. Our BGA 100, that blower that we kind of talked about earlier. We have one called a KMA 130R and an FSA 130R. Stihl will actually in the future have more products that are Z certified, but Stihl is one of the very first to have the C certification program with CARB. And that just tells you the quality of our products that we have and that we're going after the commercial market. A lot of other companies, what they've done is they don't necessarily make their own battery tools. They just buy it from someone else and they put their label on it. Most of them are just homeowner grade, and then they say they're commercial grade. Our tools are actually specifically made by Stihl and they're engineered to be commercial grade, unless they're a homeowner. But even the homeowner ones are built very well and long lasting. We have partnerships that we work with right now. We have a great partnership with American Green Zone Alliance, AGZA. And if you want to get more information about them, they have agzanet.net. But what they do is they go and teach seminars about the outdoor power equipment and about being green and also about battery tools. They have a certification program called Green Zoning. And Ojai, California was the very first green zone of a whole city. I think South Pasadena has also got part of their city green zoned. There's different businesses and residents who have green zoned. And when you green zone, it's essentially, they're only using battery tools. So there's no gas that are being used. And so AGZA works with those cities or different companies to certify, and they recommend certain tools. AGZA has really pushed a lot of their tools because they've tried everything out there. They do recommend other brands, but they primarily, a lot of the time, they recommend ours because they know for the durability of how long it lasts and what applications they can use it for and the depth of the product offering that we have. So if that might be a good one to interview is AGZA. They can give you a lot of good information, but a lot of the cities and the companies that they've have green zone have actually are using our product. So the other thing that's kind of important too is after the batteries are dead or have no more life out of them, a lot of the times these batteries will have anywhere from 1,500 to 2,000 cycles. When you've exhausted the battery, they need to be recycled. They can't be thrown away. So we have a partnership with Call to Recycle. And so these batteries actually can be recycled. So Stihl's thinking about that on every level where not just making the tool to sell, but we want to make sure that we're doing right for the environment. And we want to make sure that the batteries are being recycled in the right way. So we're going to get into the demo now with Kyle. He's going to kind of talk about the different products and features of the different blowers that we have, and he'll kind of get into that. So.
Can you guys hear me all right? Can you see me? Okay. All right, so bear with me. It's a little windy here today, so it's going to make this demonstration a little bit on the interesting side. But so what I want to do is Brandon did a really good job kind of touching on all the stats and whatnot for all the blowers. But for a lot of people, that's just marketing stuff. Seeing is believing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the last 4 blowers you saw, the BGA 57, the BGA 86, the BGA 100, and the BGA 200, and I'm actually going to use them. Luckily, about 2 trees worth of leaves have dropped in my backyard, so it'll give you a good visual demonstration on how good these blowers actually work. And then I'll just kind of touch some stats with it. So starting out, we have BGA 57 right here. This is basically the blower that I would recommend to most homeowners. The price point is great at $199. As far as air volume goes, it's pushing 365 cubic feet per minute at 103 miles per hour. But the big thing is the decibels. So it's coming in at 64 decibels, which is much lower than a gas blower. And also the weight at 7.5 pounds. Remember, your run time is about 27 minutes with this thing, but your run time is actually trigger time. So people might think like, oh, it takes me an hour to do my yard. 27 minutes is not enough time to get my work done. But you got to remember that that's the time where your trigger is depressed. All the time that you spend walking between areas and not using the blower, that's not actual work time. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm just going to give you a good 15-minute or 15-second demo on how well this blower works, and then we'll move on to the next one. So that was the 57. Stepping up, we're going to go into the AP line, which is more based towards contractors. This is the BGA 86. So this one, obviously, bigger blower, bigger battery. You're going to be pushing more air. At 459 cubic feet per minute, you're going to be pushing that at 130 miles per hour. The funny part is you're getting more air, more power, but it's actually a quieter blower coming in at 58 decibels versus the 68 decibels that the 57's coming in at. It's a little bit heavier at 6.5 pounds, and your total runtime with the bigger AP 300 battery is about 21 minutes. So we'll use this for about 15 seconds, and we'll see how it goes. So you'll notice with that blower, there was definitely a big difference as far as how more efficiently it moved leaves. Definitely you get your work done a lot faster. Granted, there is a price point increase on it, so it probably is based a little bit more towards your contractors, but it's definitely extremely powerful. So next up, we have the BGA 100. This one here, your max air volume is 494 cubic feet per minute. Your max air velocity is about 168 miles per hour, and your sound rating is 56 decibels. We'll give this one a try, and you'll notice the difference between this and the 86. So last up, we have the BGA 200. This is the biggest cordless blower that we make right now. This one here, like Brandon said, it pushes 553 cubic feet per minute. Its max air velocity is 188 miles an hour, and its sound rating is 59 decibels. So I know that was just a quick demonstration, but like I said before, for some people, seeing is believing. And like you can see all these numbers on paper, but to actually see it visually, it definitely drives home the fact that this stuff is it's a very feasible alternative to gas products.
All right, thanks, Kyle.
No problem.
So as you can, it's kind of interesting because if you were hearing it, you barely hear the blower at all. But then when you put it on the table, you could hear that. So that just tells you really how quiet our blowers are. So now we'll have Paul from Mason Saw. This is one of our dealers that we have. They're out of El Cajon. They've been a Stihl dealer for a lot of years. They've sold a lot of gas over the years, but they've also sold a lot of batteries. They were one of the very first ones to kind of push battery technology. And so they've been able to sell quite a bit of it over to different landscape companies. They've had a lot of feedback. Paul actually has an extensive background in the technology industry. So he brings kind of a lot of good knowledge, especially when it comes to battery technology. So Paul, if you would like to kind of share what you have.
Well, after your presentation, there's really not a lot to say other than it absolutely works. We've proven this over the last 7 or 8 years. The biggest thing I see with the transition is just user education. I mean, these folks, they don't understand the technology. Most people, especially contractors, equate power with noise. These things are not loud. So that's going to be the biggest hurdle to get these guys to realize that, hey, this thing puts out a lot of air. It just doesn't make a lot of noise. The other big thing is, as Brandon alluded to, the number one issue with contractors is going to be the initial cost, the acquisition cost. Where in technology, we always use total cost of ownership. Total cost of ownership versus acquisition cost. Battery powered equipment makes a lot more sense. You just have to wait. You got to come up with the money the first day. That's the only bad day in a battery unit. But every day after that, you're actually saving money to the tune of about $800 a year just in fuel. So if they sit down and do the math, which we've done it with several of our contractor friends, within about, let's say the BG86 blower with 3 batteries and 3 chargers, which will give you just about a full work day versus a BR350 acquisition cost is $349 versus the BG86 with 3 batteries and 3 chargers is about $1,200. Within 15 months, it's cost neutral just from fuel savings. And that doesn't count no maintenance, no air spark plugs, air filters, no downtime ever. It just runs. So every day after that, like Brandon was saying, the thing costs you about $2 or $3 a day to charge it and run it. So once you get that education side of it, figured out and help these guys to operate as far as training them, they don't have to run it at full power all the time to sweep a sidewalk. It makes a lot of sense. This is a lot of it's going to be the user education side. That's what I've noticed. The other thing I've noticed over 8 years is just the longevity of the batteries is amazing. We sold about a month ago our first replacement battery. It was 8 years old. So these batteries do last. It's not like you're buying, the Makita power tool batteries or the Bosch batteries. These things actually last a very long time. So other than that, good investment. Again, the hardest issue is going to be these guys to overcome the initial purchase obstacle.
All right, thank you, Paul. As he was talking about batteries, I actually have one of the original batteries. So Stihl actually started producing battery equipment back in 2010 in America. That's when we actually came out with it. I have a battery from back then and it still runs. So the nice thing about our batteries too is that battery from 2010 can work in a current product. And so it's backwards and forwards compatible, which a lot of companies, what they'll do is they're not really forward thinking. So every few years they change their batteries because they're like, well, we didn't really plan out and we need to change our battery architecture to make it work for the new tools. So Stihl's really thought long-term of how we're going to get more capacity out of the size of the battery that we have. And it kind of gives you the best of both worlds. A lot of companies will advertise, hey, 72 volts on up. And it's really kind of a marketing gimmick because that doesn't necessarily always give you the right amount of power, and it also adds a lot of weight. And if you're going out there all day long, you need to have a good performance and power, but also at the right weight. As you can see, most of the backpack blowers out in the market, the gas ones, are anywhere from 22 to 26 pounds. So we're coming in just at the same, if not a little bit lighter than that. So that's kind of an advantage to a gardener, is where some of the other machines might come in quite a little bit heavier on the battery market. But I think the biggest thing that Stihl has is our dillers that we have, because if there's a problem, you can actually take it to a physical location, where a lot of these ones are sold online. You buy it, if there breaks, you throw it away. And that really doesn't really help with sustainability and also reducing emissions, because if you're just throwing something away and buying another one, then that didn't really help the whole benefit of reducing emissions out there. So the cool thing about Stihl too is you can actually buy parts for all our products, where I would say a lot of the other manufacturers don't even offer parts for that, because they're just making something at a price point, and when it dies, it dies. So Stihl is really committed. They've done it for a lot of years, even on our gas power products. Our gas power products are very low emissions. They actually are a lot less than the standard on hydrocarbons for California. And so, but we've pretty much put everything into going full battery, and especially when it comes to commercial. So like I said, I can't say enough about our dillers that we have. They're great. We have a lot of all the battery products in stock, and so it's very easy to get. And then we also have like Kyle, who go out to different universities and landscape companies who actually does training, and then we do demonstrations. So we're trying to get people converted over to battery all the time. So that's kind of what we have to kind of offer that we've talked about. If anybody has questions, we can kind of go from there. But thank you for letting us take the time and sharing what we have and about Stihl.
Well, that was awesome. Thank you so much, guys. That was super, super helpful. I think you answered all of my questions that I was going to ask if there were no other ones, and I haven't seen anything in the Q&A. That was extremely comprehensive and helpful. And yeah, I think you guys did a great job. So I'll stay on for a few minutes and see if anything pops up. But otherwise, I think we're probably good. And again, this will be posted on Facebook, YouTube, and a couple of our local gardening clubs are going to be putting it on their web pages as well. So the word will be getting around. But yeah, if there's nothing else, we can probably wrap up. But thank you guys so much for taking the time to do this.
Thank you for having us.
Of course. Yes. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Yep.